For over a decade, he wasn't just the face of wrestling, he was wrestling. The colors, the energy, the message. Say your prayers and eat your vitamins, brother. The ability to believe in something that was bigger than yourself. And that was to believe in Hulk Hogan. Because for millions of fans worldwide, that was exactly what they did. They believed in Hogan. They trusted in Hogan. They built their childhood around Hulk Hogan. But here's the truth. By the mid 1990s, that belief was starting to crack. Not loudly, not all at once, but slowly, quietly, inevitably. Because the world was changing. And Hulk Hogan, well, wasn't. And on one night in July of 1996, that crack didn't just spread, it shattered. Because when Hulk Hogan walked down the aisle at Bash at the Beach 1996, fans thought they were about to be saved, but instead, they were about to be betrayed. And in that moment, professional wrestling changed forever.
Booking sheets and double turns, politics and slow burns, booking blunders, legends made, cities cheered and empires fade, tape trade tales, late night shows, broken noses, borrowed robes, line them up, we call the spot, give you all the weird they forgot. Sheep pop history. Let the crowd go wild on the memory. Every tale, every brawl, every mystery. Step inside the ring with cheap pop history.
Welcome back to another episode of the Cheap Pop Society, where the biggest moments in professional wrestling history are not just remembered, they're understood. And to understand the heel turn, you have to understand just how Hogan was. Because this wasn't just a popular wrestler turning bad, this was the foundation of an entire era in professional wrestling collapsing. You see, in the 1980s, Hulk Hogan was everywhere. Television, movies, mainstream media. He wasn't just a wrestling star, he was a cultural icon. The engine behind the first big wrestling boom. The centerpiece of WrestleMania. The man who turned wrestling into a global product. And for years, that formula worked. The unstoppable hero, overcoming impossible odds, standing tall at the end. It was simple, predictable, and incredibly successful. But success has a shelf life. And by the early 90s, the cracks were starting to show. Wrestling fans were evolving. The audience wasn't the same anymore. They were older. They were more aware, more skeptical. They didn't want cartoon heroes. They wanted edge, reality, unpredictability. And Hogan still represented the past. The same promos, the same matches, the same endings, and what once felt iconic now started to feel outdated. And in wrestling, being outdated is more dangerous than being bad because it means the audience has moved on. Now, at the same time, World Championship Wrestling was trying to compete, trying to catch up with then WWF, now WWE, trying to matter. They had talent, they had resources, but they didn't have any momentum. That was until something changed, because suddenly, two men appeared. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. And they didn't feel like part of the show, they felt like they were invaders, outsiders, a threat to the system itself. They didn't follow rules, they didn't respect the authority, and most importantly, they promised something. They promised a third man. Now here's what makes the story even more fascinating. Turning Hogan heel wasn't the obvious move, it was kind of the last resort. Because while the The aura of Hulk Hogan was starting to slip. He was still the biggest name, the safest draw, the most recognizable face in professional wrestling, and turning him, well, it still had the potential to destroy everything. There were people backstage who didn't believe it would work, people who thought fans would reject it, people that thought it would damage the company permanently, but others saw something different. They saw opportunity, because if it worked, it wouldn't just be shocking, it would be, in one word, historic. And what happened next is one of the most important moments in professional wrestling history. Get in our Wayback Machines and go to the night of July 7th, 1996. Bash at the beach. The match is chaos. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash are dominating. The crowd is waiting. The third man is coming. Who is it? Who's it going to be? When are they going to show up? And then the music hits. Hogan walks out. The crowd reacts, and for a moment, everything feels normal. Safe, predictable. The hero has arrived. Hulk Hogan gets to the ring. He steps inside. He looks around, assesses the situation, takes it all in, and then drops the leg on Macho Man Randy Savage. Take a minute and think about that, because that moment changes everything. The crowd doesn't cheer. They don't react with excitement. They react with shock, and then anger, and then chaos. Trash fills the ring. Fans are screaming. And Hogan? He doesn't apologize. He embraces it. And then comes the moment that cements it. Put the bow on top of the package. Hulk Hogan grabs the microphone, and instead of explaining himself, he attacks the fans. You turned your back on me. This is a new world order of wrestling, brother. And just like that, the new world order is born. After this moment, everything changed. WCW became the hottest company in wrestling. Ratings exploded, merchandise sells out, the NWO becomes a cultural phenomenon, and WWE falls behind. For the first time in years, they're losing. They lost on Monday nights in the Monday Night War for 83 straight weeks. NWO merchandise still sells today. Still one of the top selling pieces of merchandise is that just black and white shirt. And remember, as far as WWE goes, this is the same company that created WrestleMania. Now, they're being forced to adapt. You see, this wasn't just a storyline, it was a shift. We shifted from heroes to anti-heroes, from simple storytelling to complex characters, from predictable to unpredictable. And it changed everything. I cannot emphasize that enough. The hero became the villain, and in doing so, created something bigger than anyone expected. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing a character can do is break the trust of the audience. If you enjoyed this deep dive, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Share it with a friend who loves wrestling as much as you do. And remember, the stories, they don't stop here. And until next time, keep chasing that cheap pop, my friends.